Securing a bonsai tree in a pot can be tricky, especially when your pot doesn't have dedicated holes for anchoring. You do your best, but sometimes, no matter what, the tree still wobbles. But here's the good news. Securing a bonsai tree is actually easier than you think. You just need the right technique. In this video, I'll show you 3 effective techniques that will keep your tree completely stable regardless of the pot or root condition. And at the end, I'll share a bonus tip that gives your tree even more stability. Step 1. Preparing the pot and wire. Attach a drainage net to the pot's hole. Cut a wire 1.5 times the width of the pot hole. Cut 2 longer wires for anchoring, long enough to wrap around the pot. Wrap the long wire around the short one once or twice in the middle to create a V-shape. Insert this wire structure through the drainage holes from the bottom. Spread the wire ends right and left inside the pot. Step 2. Securing the tree. Once the tree is positioned, wrap the wires around the roots and twist once or twice. Using pliers, pull the wires up. There will be a gap between the wire and the roots. While pulling the wires, twist them several times until there isn't any gap there. Repeat the same process at the opposite side. This method works for trees of all sizes regardless of age, hence I call it the universal wiring method. But what if your tree has very few roots to hold on to? That's where the next method comes in. Step 1. Prepare the pot and wire. Attach a drainage net to the pot's hole as usual. Insert a long wire through the bottom of the pot's hole and extend it upwards long enough to loosely wrap around the trunk. At the opposite end, extend the wires upwards along the outside of the pot. Make a U-shaped hook at the top of the pot and bend it to hold at the edge. Step 2. Securing the tree. Once the tree is positioned, gently wrap the wire around the trunk, not too tight to allow for future growth. Unlike other anchoring, this method stabilizes the tree even when there aren't enough roots to anchor. But there's one more method that professional bonsai growers swears by. By the way, if you find this video helpful so far, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter. I share exclusive bonsai care tips and behind-the-scenes insights that I don't always cover in videos. The link is in the description below. Step 1. Prepare the pot. Attach a drainage net to the pot's hole. Step 2. Securing the tree. Once the tree is positioned, insert a wire through the drainage hole, making sure it touches its edge for a firm hold. Instead of wrapping the wires around the roots, bend its edge and hook it onto the roots. Pull the wire firmly while hooking it onto the drainage hole's edge to tighten securely. Repeat the process at the opposite side of the roots you just hooked. This technique locks the tree in place securely without restricting root growth. Over time, as a tree grows, the wires bite slightly into the roots for added stability, but will loosen as the roots expand. And it works for underdeveloped roots as well as large trees with good root system. Before we wrap up, here's one more pro tip that makes all of these methods even more effective. Step 1. Prepare the pot and mesh. Prepare a net mesh, metal or otherwise, that is stiff enough to hold the tree securely. You can make one using chopsticks, wood sticks, or bamboo like I made here. Cut it to fit inside the pot. Wrap pieces of wires to the mesh on the right and left side or at the places where you want to plant multiple trees. Step 2. Securing the mesh. If your pot has 2 drainage holes, insert a wire through each one hole and tie the mesh down. If your pot has only one hole, secure the mesh like in method 1. Step 3. Securing the tree. Once the tree is positioned, wrap the wire around the roots or trunk to anchor it to the mesh. This mesh acts as a base that can keep one or multiple trees stable to prevent them from shifting in shallow pots. And there you have it. With these simple techniques, you can keep your bonsai stable and thriving. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video.